Normally, these 45 minutes is usually the sweet spot. This might be our first 9-hour episode because we're talking about
torture Abby.
Well, no, we're talking about Italy.
Yeah.
And I think I could next 2 months from now, it will be exactly 30 years since I've been. But you could drop me anywhere in Florence, and I could get you anywhere you want to go.
Yes.
Like, it's just burned into my
Yes.
brain. Rome, less so. As much as I love Rome, I had less time there.
So
but
did we, and we did not love it.
it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Especially for the tail end of the trip.
Yeah, it's a lot.
How long were you there?
I was there 5 weeks.
Where did you spend the most time?
Most time was in Florence.
Okay.
So, like 2 or 3 days in Rome. And then most of the time in Florence with a weekend trip to Venice and then a weekend trip to the Cinque Terre.
Mm-hmm.
I could probably kind of get around Rome if I was at, like if you put me at the Pantheon or something, I could get you to Trevi Fountain. But a little less familiar with that because much less time spent there. But yeah, Florence, if you pop me off at the train station, need to get all the way across town to the Brancacci Chapel, follow me, I got you. So
That's one of the chapels we did not. Well, no, we did not.
it's okay. It's the Masaccio.
That's the only
frescoes
reason
there.
to. Yeah,
Yeah.
But
However,
we saw Masaccio though, the Holy Trinity.
yeah, in Santa Maria Novella.
Yes.
Sure, yeah. It's one of the earliest like forced perspectives. Right there at the train station, yeah, essentially. I don't know if it's still there, but across from the Brancacci Chapel was a little, are they trattoria? Is that what they're called? Had sandwiches and pizzas. Phenomenal.
Where wasn't phenomenal? I mean, really.
Food
was great. I mean,
food's great.
Can't argue.
I didn't love Venice. It was my least favorite.
We loved Venice.
Venice was
we all want to
great.
move there.
It was so relaxing and just...
Our guide is from Venice. She is from Venice. And I wonder if that colored it because she was so excited to share parts of that city with us. And it was so gorgeous.
It was magnificent.
It was effortless compared to the hustle and bustle and tourism of the other places. It was, I was just experiencing it, you know.
What city were you at first?
Well, Rome, because that's where we flew in.
Okay.
And we were there for 3 days,
Yes.
2 days. Yeah, because it was through my university, and it was, I think I got 3 full credits. There was studio class, there was Italian language classes, which I'd already taken 2 semesters. And then there was an art history class. I think the art history is the one I got credit for. I ended up participating with the studio students because those classes were in the afternoon. But I think only 4 credit portion was just the art history section. But, excuse me. Yeah, so that's the end of the show because I've talked about I could go on about my experiences, and as much as the listeners are thrilled at this point, let's talk about your experiences. So first of all, tell us who you are and what your role was.
So I'm Tiffany Gallaher. I'm the Fine Arts Administrative Assistant. So I helped Miss Warner kind of get the program off the ground.
I'm Nyah Parker. I'm a student of the program.
And I'm Abril Warner, and I am the other group leader. Tiffany and I did training in Barcelona in November so that we would know how to manage a group. And so I'm the other group leader. And I am the art department coordinator. So I taught the class portion of the study abroad.
I remember we had talked about the training that you had gone through. My gosh, sorry everybody. I don't know why my
Spring in Missouri.
I'll have to edit this heavily. Yeah, that it was very intense, but really informative and helpful. And I assume that came into play then while you were...
Oh, yeah. It was, at the moment, we were very confused as to how this beautiful time in Barcelona would be considered training and work. We were there, we were living with everyone and going to all these places and doing tour buses. But then when we got our feet on the ground in Italy, we were like, okay, that's what the training was for. It was for our pacing and for our keeping track of people and our attendance and timings and ticketing. And so it came in handy for sure.
Every drill that they put us through in Barcelona, we used in Italy. Every single, except for emergencies and bad things. Like, we thankfully did not encounter any of that, but they trained us for those types of things as well. And definitely the pace, and being so excited to see everything, but keeping track of all the people at the same time.
Sure, yeah. For any or all of you, was this your first time in Italy?
It was my first time traveling abroad at all. The furthest I had ever gone was to Ohio. So boring. I hated it. It was fine because I was visiting family, but oh my gosh, cornfields the whole way. So it was just a whole new experience and a whole new world to me.
Mm-hmm.
Ohio is basically the Tuscany of America.
Exactly.
Apologize to anybody listening from Ohio, although I'd be very surprised if that were true.
Yeah. Before Italy, Barcelona was the first time I had left the country. So this was my second experience, but definitely my first in Italy. I've never gone to any country before, except for now Spain and Italy. So glad to add those.
And I have been to Italy before. I'd been to Florence before, and Rome, but Rome really just to land and to take off. I didn't explore Rome, and I've been to Assisi. It was as good this time as it was last time. And I also visited Civita Castellana, a small Gothic or medieval town in Italy the first time I went. And so I was very excited to share this with the students and to see it again. Like, was it as magical as I remembered? Yes, it was. And sir, if you go back, it will be as magical as it was back then.
It doesn't make me nervous because I was 18, I think, and I have that worry in the back of my head that it will somehow ruin that experience, that if I see it differently, that perhaps I've kind of built it up in my head. But I don't think I have. We may have talked about this too. It would be difficult to enjoy myself because I'm someone who has a bad habit of thinking about the end. I could show up to I'll go out of town and meet friends for a weekend, and all I can think about is like, oh, I'm going to have to leave in 2 days. and I would just be dreading the moment I had to come back, and I also have this tremendous fear that I will forget to visit or see something that I want to, and I'll have like a panic, like, oh no, I forgot to visit XYZ.
And you have to go again.
Yeah, that's how they get you, right?
Exactly. We stuffed a lot into our itinerary, so much so that I didn't know what the days were or what day we were flying back. Like, I didn't even think of it while we were there. So yeah, we kept very busy, and we checked off a lot of things on our bucket list and the students' bucket list. And
how many? How big was the group total?
We had 16 students.
Oh wow! Okay.
Plus
good.
Abby and myself, so 18 total.
Oh, that's a pretty significant group.
Yeah.
Yes, and then also our tour manager, Anna Artale. She is fantastic. We all tried to kidnap her and bring her back to Missouri with us. I don't think
my suitcase would have fit her in.
Yeah.
I don't know why she would have been reluctant, but
I know. We told her there's, amazing things here too. But she was so incredible. I mean, she made the trip really, really magical for all of us and the students involved, and I was very grateful.
She worked really hard to stay flexible within our schedule. The second she really figured out that our students actually wanted to be there for the art and art history, she was crossing things off of the itinerary that were like, oh, shopping time. When she would say, do you guys want time for shopping, or do you guys want to see some Caravaggios? All of us were like, Caravaggio, now, you know? And so she made sure that she filled up the time with as much art, historical stuff, and kept it exciting for us instead of giving us shopping time, which I think is what her norm is with most groups. And she kept saying to us that she was so happy to see how excited the students were at every turn.
Literally, every corner you turn. And what's interesting, too, is no matter how knowledgeable you are, you might know 30% because you're always passing something that you have no idea the historical significance or the just inside the door what painting or fresco or decorations or architecture. I always see these things online. They're like, oh yeah, here's this, everybody walks past it, but it's this Bernini chapel. Like 18 people a year come visit it. Like nobody knows it's there.
Yeah.
And just to think that just outside of your view is just all this stuff kind of around every corner.
It was a unique experience, even with the people that live there and the locals. It's their day-to-day, so it wasn't that special for them. So there were kids playing soccer in front of this amazing place, and we were all sitting there taking pictures just in awe of it. And the kids are using some of the pillars as goalposts for their soccer ball, you know? So, like, they just get to see it when they walk outside.
Just pillars. I feel like some of them were graves.
I think so.
Well, yeah, when you sort of live in, well, Rome especially, it's, 40 feet below is, it's just been layer after layer. And so
The Pantheon does look like it's sunk in, but in fact, it's just been built up around it.
Yeah.
And so I did, some of the students who went on the trip who had not had History of Art 1, I tried to point out to them, you're not seeing the staircase, you're not seeing the base of the building from the outside, and tried to let them have a good view of what is missing and how it used to be part of a major complex, and instead the city has built up around it. And the Pantheon was just everything and more, because it was still daylight, but it was raining. And so, I'm getting emotional. But the rain coming into the Pantheon, and you could catch it, the light catching the rain coming down. Ooh, that was
Through the oculus.
So beautiful.
Yes, it was
Incredible.
incredible. It was absolutely incredible. And even though it was busy and there were crowds, it didn't matter, because that oculus is up there all by itself, and the rain coming down for so many years is just so beautiful and incredible.
Yeah.
that was one of my favorite places. I love the massive door and the columns, and being there at night is super cool as well. Yeah, that was one of the cooler ones to walk into.
I don't know if anybody else got this feeling, but like walking up to the columns and then actually rationalizing and seeing how huge they actually were, and realizing, somebody had to put these together and like actually stack them and make them look the way that they did. It's mind-boggling to me.
Every part of it, every single part of it is human hands.
Even the single, pillars that are left in the Roman Forum, how gigantic just one or two of them are. I'm like, wow, just standing there on their own.
When you don't have the internet to waste your time in social media,
We can make
you can
incredible
do cool things. Yeah, for sure. To get back to the sort of depth and history thing, I saw that recently one of the subway stations in Rome has sort of integrated this, I'll call it like a museum, but they have all of these artifacts and things that they found during construction. They have built these really cool displays for.
We walked it might be what you're talking about. We walked by it, and it was lit kind of in a strange way, but it was below our walking level, and you could see that it was some kind of university or college. I don't know exactly, but it had labels, and you could see that it was like for archaeological students to be able to go and study some of those pieces. But you could see down the hall that it was kind of raw and unfinished.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Do you remember? It was kind of
because I think I
lit up
pointed it
red.
out.
Yes, you did point it out.
I was like, oh, because we were just walking, and it didn't, like, it seemed kind of out of place, but then you look and there's like ruins and.
We are out of place. Those
That
things
is
have
true.
been there for thousands of
That
years.
is true.
Yes. Yeah, but you're
The
right.
subway's
At
out of
every
place.
corner, at every turn, you are within reach of the ancient world.
And it never fails. Every couple of years, there's oh, hey, we found this thing, which shouldn't be surprising if you start digging. I can only imagine being having like a construction company, and they're like, hey, we need to excavate this area, and you're like, oh, here we go. We're going to go about 6 inches down and have to stop because we're going to find some villa that was, with some mosaics that nobody knew about. It's crazy. So you guys didn't spend much time in Rome. That was kind of the landing. And
We kind of spent equal times in each of the 3 places, so it was about 2 days in each location, and then some travel in between them.
so before we move on from Rome, Pantheon, maybe your favorite?
In Rome, the Pantheon might be my favorite indoor space
Okay.
for me, and this is Abby Warner, but maybe my favorite thing that I saw would be the Caravaggio paintings that were not on our scheduled itinerary.
That I didn't get to see.
I'm so sorry.
Absolutely just stunning, and it's
For you too?
yes, absolutely, it was beautiful. Anna was like, oh, let's go look at these Caravaggio paintings, and I'm thinking, oh, it must be some that like I haven't seen, or something I'm not used to. And like we walk into the church, which the church was like secluded. Like I don't think anybody would have known like Caravaggio paintings were in there. And then we walk in and I see them and I go, and I just have a whole emotional reaction because it is the ones we've learned about, and it's just crazy that they're just in this random church. So I totally understand, but it was crazy and beautiful. I think for me, another big experience was probably going to the Colosseum. I understand it's just like a huge building, and like that is what it is, but like 12-year-old me didn't realize, I'd actually get to go there. And I was like, I told myself, I'm going to go there one of these days. I promise I will. And then it was just crazy because, like, I fed that inner child of me just walking through the door, it was just insane and a whole different experience.
It was pretty incredible to look at.
You can go on to the interior now. Is that correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
we did a tour guide, talked us through a lot of the history and building and like the events that would happen and how the day-to-day looked at the Colosseum. So it was really neat. We got to walk around the whole top section of it.
Oh, nice.
And then walk out and
Got to look on the inside where
the like
they
battles
would
actually
fight
happen
and
the
animals would be
trapdoors.
released. We could see the trapdoors,
Yeah, the
or at least one
elevators
original
and-
one.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then we went to the Roman Forum, and it was not enough time. I think that was the theme of the trip was not enough time.
Oh,
Because
yeah,
you need to
of
be
course,
sent
yeah.
for a month.
We
I
wanted to
agree.
see
I
everything.
agree.
Yes. So what about you? What was your favorite Rome?
In Rome, I really enjoyed the Trevi Fountain. I thought it was way bigger than I imagined it to be in my head and from pictures. And now it's ticketed. So
I've heard that. Yeah.
But we had tickets with our group, so we got to go right up in the front and toss the coin and do all the stuff. And it was beautiful. It was breathtaking. And then the sound of the water. And we went at night, so it was really special.
It's great at night.
And I
Yeah.
don't think we realized, like, piggybacking off what you said, I didn't realize it was that big either.
No.
And, like, you have to look at the statues and realize, oh, somebody carved that. It's
I
insane.
can't.
Because it's
Imagine.
ticketed, it does give people the experience to be really close up to it. And it gives
Not
you plenty
elbowing.
of time. Yeah, you're not elbowing anybody. You get time for pictures. Anna, our tour manager, explained that a lot of people want to show up to the to the fountain, and then do a quick selfie and then move on. And the people who really care will pay for the ticket, and then they'll spend some time. And we did the selfie, and we made our wishes, and we did that. But then, once again, we're traveling with artists,
So
and
we
they
sat
looked
there.
at every statue, and they looked at how it was put together, and they walked around and really took it all in. And notice we didn't say the Vatican and Rome, because that's separate. But we did go to the Vatican
We
museums.
did.
And that was
incredible.
vast. I had a headache. And I felt nauseous, and thankfully our guide had medicine, but it was overstimulation. Like didn't know where to focus. I didn't know where to look. I kept having
So
waves
much to
of,
look at.
Oh my God, I kept having waves of,
Yeah.
this is thousands of years old, and this is 500, and it was overwhelming. I think I would need a special day just for that, and please let me have
Just
snacks and take a
one
break.
of the hallways we walked in that had all the paintings above, like my neck. I was like, and we're walking straight through it, but I'm like trying to look at all of them, and oh my gosh, yeah, it was so many
For me,
incredible in one spot.
I think it was like, oh my gosh, I need to look at everything, but it's like, oh my gosh, the great masters painted this. I am looking at the School of Athens right
crazy.
now. I literally see Raphael looking at me. It was insane.
As the non-art history person, I know about the School of Athens. I didn't know that's where it was, so when I walked in that room, I just went, oh my gosh, what? That's here?
That is the experience. Is you're kind of going through doors and hallways, and you pop through this door, and it's like, oh, the entire wall, there it is.
Yeah, again, did not know how big it was.
Yes, it's
At
fairly
all.
big, but yeah, it's like you just kind of you step through a doorway, and there it is. It's not like some. And I felt the same way about the Sistine. It's like you come through a door, and you're like, oh. And we didn't have a guide, so we were just kind of wandering. And it's like, go through the door, and you're like, oh, here we are.
Here we are.
Mm-hmm.
The Sistine Chapel overwhelmed me. And everybody had a guide, and we had the whisper system, where it hangs on your ear. You can have an earpiece, because throughout Italy they don't want extra noise, and so all the guides are talking. And so I think it's a very, very good system. I don't want to knock it, but being a hearing impaired person that wears hearing aids, my whisper wouldn't hang on my ear properly. And so at one point I gave up, and I let go, and I just used my eyes, and I just relaxed. And when we got to the Sistine Chapel, since I had my over-ear Bose headset, I just put on glorious music and walked through the Sistine Chapel listening to
that's
this
a good
wonderful
idea.
sound. I had tears. I was deeply moved.
See, they didn't use the whispers in the Sistine. Like, we were all supposed to be quiet. Not everybody was quiet, but
Our
yeah,
group was quiet.
Our group was very quiet.
Beautifully behaved people.
In awe, I think.
Yes.
Couldn't really talk.
It was crazy. We didn't get to see the Last Judgment because they were working on it, but looking up and seeing the creation of Adam, the Sibyls, and just the way that the forms like almost curl out and it looks like they're almost coming towards you it's very masterful. And I can't imagine working up there with leaning back and then also working on a ceiling and making them as rendered or as fleshed out.
And from where we were, like how far the distance is, how big they look, like how big are they actually? Like how big is, each thing on there? Just, no.
It's,
I
yeah,
can't.
the Sibyls are one of my favorite.
Me too.
The panels, less so. I do love the Last Judgment that he painted himself in, and his use of the cave behind the altar. If anyone is interested, you can look that up yourself.
Yes.
There's a great book. I think it's called Michelangelo and the Pope's Ceiling. That's really... I loved how combative he was, wanting to do things his way. And yeah, I didn't know if you had time to make it over to the...
We
We had a
Vatican,
wish list,
but
and we
yeah.
were very protective of our wish list, and very
ACIS
hopeful.
was very diligent in getting our wish list, even as we plan future events. Like, they are checking everything off for us. So,
And as a student, I was thoroughly thrilled that everything that I wanted to do we went on. So I was very happy and excited.
That's what when Tiffany and I would plan out and we would have our meetings with our ACIS, sort of our tour, what is she, director, like our internet. Anyway, when we would sit down and have these meetings, Tiffany would be like, what did you cover in class? What do the students need to see? And so we were very student driven. There were things that Tiffany and I kept thinking, well, this would be fun, but does it fit curriculum? Will the students be as excited as you and I would be about it? And so we really tried to think of you guys as we were, and then when Anna would say this or this, and Tiffany and I would be like, the students want this. And then when we would make these decisions, and then Anna would announce the decision, and then you guys would jump up and down or get so excited. It was such a relief that we chose right, that we made the right decision so that you guys would enjoy whatever the activity was going to be, even though we were tired.
Yes,
Very
it was absolutely just amazing and a great experience all around. And if I could do it again, I definitely would. So
we'd love to have you.
Here's a very weird story. So in the Vatican, I saw this book, and I had only been there like 10 minutes, and it was a large hardbound, and I thought, I'll pick up a copy. But somehow I could never get back to where I was, and no matter where I looked for it, and I spent years, I even looked for it online, could not find this thing. And randomly, I found it at the Farmington Public Library. And I mean, we're talking decades later, and I was floored. I could not believe it. At the time, it was because it had unique photos of St. Peter's Tomb, which I could not find in any other art history book, even from school. And so I was
bet the quality would have been awful anyway if you would have found
probably.
them.
I never studied architecture, but I feel like I'm drawn to that just as much. And St. Peter's Cathedral, so when I walked in the front door, because the Michelangelo's Pietà is to your right, and I remember there weren't too many people, and I was able to kind of walk right up to it.
We were elbowing people.
Sorry.
We had to fight for our way to get there.
And I just remember thinking, I'm from the Midwest, a town of 6,000 people. I'm like, what am I doing here? Like, it's crazy. And then, of course, the Baldacchino's super cool. You can go underground to see some of the catacombs. It goes much more extensive.
Yes, we didn't get to do that, but that's when I was thinking catacombs. That's the catacombs I was thinking. When we brought the catacombs up, it was an hour away. So, and I think some things weren't open.
Probably,
yeah.
Yeah.
The stairs are kind of hidden there by one of the four elemental statues, and you kind of pop down them, and then you twist around, and there's what is supposed to be St. Peter's with a little box and stuff, and then of course Bernini's throne is so huge, it's crazy.
The vast size of everything was such a shock to me.
Yes.
I guess, especially because around here we don't even have like skyscrapers, like unless you go to like St. Louis, you have some of those taller buildings, but like everything is just, compact, and we're here and it's fine. But over there, I mean, it was such an optical illusion in some places, especially in there, like the Dove, it looks so little, but then they were saying like the wingspan's like 6 foot just on the Dove part of it, and the whole stained glass is gigantic. So like we couldn't even imagine, because even at the closest we got, they were like, you're like a football field away from it right now.
It's
I'm like,
crazy.
What's a football field? Like, it looks like it's right next to me, but it's not. Like,
It's disorienting to be inside of St. Peter's Basilica. I would look up, and then I would stop, and I would look down, and even the floors in the Vatican are outrageous. And I would look down to try to get my bearings, and then my eyes would focus, and I would be looking at how gorgeous the floor was, and then I would imagine, without any people here, what does this floor look like? But you can't walk and look up. You must walk, stop and look up.
Yes.
That is
It's very
so
disorienting.
true.
Yeah, you'll get a little vertigo.
Yes.
The colonnade outside, and I didn't realize that there's a spot where you can stand where they line up, and you can see through perfectly, and it only looks like there's like a singular column.
I did not know that either, but they had a set up for a concert. There was going to be a sort of like polyphonic type performance.
singing,
I think
yeah.
the next day or the day after, something like that. And so you couldn't just freely walk in the arms. You had to walk around it. But
We saw the changing of the guard.
we did.
We did.
At the Vatican.
Nice.
It was so neat. A lot of our students were just like staring over there, and so that was just a random thing that happened, and we had to happen to be
perfectly
there
timed.
and witness
I kept
it.
wondering, are they timing all of this? Because we kept having
There's
these.
just a
When we
flow.
talk about Venice, we'll talk about another sort of a couple magical moments that
Mm-hmm.
happened. But when we did our training in Barcelona, they kept saying, just be prepared, of course, for like all the negative and other things you can't plan for, but also be prepared for these magical moments that happen when you travel, that unexpected, beautiful
The
things,
unplanned.
and then just let it wash over you. Don't ignore it. Don't rush past it. Take the time and enjoy it. And that was one of those. As soon as we walked out, we were just about to turn our backs, and there's the changing of the guard.
Perfect time as we left. Yeah.
We were front row,
Mm-hmm.
and it was not crowded.
No.
Quickly, I just want to. When I first heard about the ticketing system, the Trevi, I thought, I don't like that. But I do remember my experience there. When it wasn't, you had people sitting around playing guitar, and you have, of course, people trying to sell you stuff. And now I'm thinking, you know what? That'd be really nice to just experience it.
It's blocked off. There's people, guards there watching, so no one gets through, and they don't let a lot of people in at one time. So we had rain of the steps and everything over there.
We weren't rushed through. We weren't ushered out. Nobody said it's time to go. That you just wait in line. You wait your turn.
So I'd
You
say
got
it
to
was
take
worth
your
the
time.
ticket.
Yes. Yes.
One of my, and again, I don't know if it's still there, but off one of the corners, there was this little gelateria, and it had the best gelato. Please tell me that you had some gelato.
Oh my gosh,
I
yes.
should not
Okay.
admit how many times I had gelato.
Me neither.
Sometimes back to back.
It was
I
great.
partook in a lot of gelato.
Yes, I can't blame you. It was great. The flavors, oh my gosh, insane. It was
What
great.
did you have?
I had a few different kinds. My favorite flavor was probably the blueberry cheesecake and apricot combination
one?
at the last
In
one.
Rome?
Yes, because it was sweet, but it was also tart, and it was crazy because it did taste like actual cheesecake. I know we kind of have that down here in the Midwest, but it's completely different.
It's not that creamy cheese.
It's not. It tasted like actual blueberry cheesecake. It was great.
My favorite. I was eating only the cheesecake and the hazelnut.
Yeah.
Not the Nutella, not the big Nutella one, but just the pure hazelnut. Oh my gosh, I got that every place we stopped.
Yes, I had a tiramisu one too, and that was great. But I'm a big tiramisu fan, so I'm not gonna lie, I had like 10 of those while I was everywhere.
The tiramisus, yeah.
They were great. I was in heaven.
I had something called chocolate flour, which is basically the essence of like cocoa. And being a Mexican, I know a thing or two about really good, rich chocolate, and it wasn't overly sweet. And so the attendant said you should have the fruit of the forest, which is basically berries. Wow.
That one, I had
It
that one
was
too. It was very
Extraordinary.
good flavor.
I don't have much of a sweet tooth, so I didn't have as much gelato as everybody else had, but I'm so happy that I had it that last night in Rome.
Yeah.
Did not disappoint in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, that's a tip. If you ever make it, you've got to try it.
Try it and try it again and try it again. And
Yeah.
Never stop eating it.
Never
Yes.
stop.
Okay, so that was phase one. Where was stop number 2?
Well, that was actually stop 3, so let's just go backwards.
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry.
That's
I was
okay.
You're
thinking the
good.
airport's there.
We
and-
left out of
course.
Rome.
So we will, let's just work backwards. We hit Florence then, second.
So Rome was last.
Yes.
Yes.
Where did you fly in? Just out of curiosity.
Marco Polo Airport in Venice.
Okay, so we're gonna do this in reverse order.
And
I'm
that's-
sorry.
No,
I was
that's
thinking.
that's actually kind of nice because, like I said, everybody wanted to move to Venice.
Yeah.
We
So
want
we'll end on that. Yeah.
Yeah. So Florence
was in the
full
middle.
of art.
God.
Just
I think I want to live in Florence and vacation in Venice.
I think that's fair, and I feel like a lot of in our group were that way as well.
I don't know what to say about Florence. It makes me want to cry.
I mean, we did a walking tour with a guide, and we got to see, the outside of so many places, and even like Dante's house
And the church he attended and maybe got married in.
Yes.
Yes, and all the little love locks,
There were
which
locks
were
on the outside.
oh so cute.
So even though we'd only been in Rome for 2 days, maybe 3, I think that the emotion kind of drained out of me, and so when we hit Florence, I was just all smiles because I'm like, I was just, the excitement hit me, and I was everything I saw. Walking down the street, or you can't miss the Duomo, no matter where you're at. But
That's a good way to orient yourself if you feel like you're
Yeah.
lost.
Like, where is it?
by that point, there was none of the overwhelming sort of teary, oh my gosh, this is insane. By the time we hit Florence, it was just all smiles. All right, here we go. I'm excited, and it was just all positive from there. So
We had a near problem, but we fixed it. We solved it. It's too many people. Anna resolved it for us. Somehow the Uffizi sold us tickets on a day they're not even open. And Anna and I happened to have a meeting, and we were discussing what the next day was going to be when we were going to go to Florence. And I mentioned to her, since the Uffizi's closed on this day, maybe we could fit, here are some things on our wish list, we could fit these things in. One of the things was Santa Croce.
mm-hmm.
And she did a quick search, and she realized she had tickets for the wrong day. She fixed it. Long story short, she fixed it and resolved it, and she said yes. And I didn't know that we were going to have time to see Santa Croce, and I did not want to tell the students that it was even an option, because I was so scared that if we put it on the itinerary and then didn't go, they would be devastated. And that was one of the times where Anna said, so do you guys want to go to Santa Croce? And in my view, I could see 3 students jump up and down. And so I looked at her, and she said, I guess we're going to Santa Croce.
Yeah, and we got to
We're
stop by
so
Santa Maria Novella.
Yes, that was also very nice.
Oh my God.
Which I was not expecting that, but it was great. We were all super excited about Santa Croce.
When we went to the Santa Maria Novella on the way to Santa Croce, again, that was just, she said, well, you guys have 15 minutes. And so I said to the crew, do you want to see the Holy Trinity by Masaccio? Yes or no? And then we went in, and it was covered up because they were preserving it. And I walked by disappointed. And then one of our students, I think it was Olivia, who said, if we all pay €1, we can see it. And I said, yes, and we're going to help with the restoration by paying this donation. Yes, we will. And we got to go into this little tent area and experience what it would be like if you were a conservator preserving it. And I don't know,
Witness
8
it.
feet away, 5 feet away.
Yeah, it was
really close.
crazy to be that close to it, and also see what work that the conservator is putting in. So it was kind of like it was an experience, but it was just a mind-boggling experience to know that, oh yeah, conservators do this. We had a student not too long ago go and want to be a conservator. I'm like, I could not ever do that. I would be so scared of ruining it. And there's so much elements into it, like chemicals and understanding what you're using, and media, making sure it all lines up, getting the right pigments. I could never, but it was very enlightening to see, oh my gosh, yeah, people putting the work in, and all the knowledge it takes to actually be able to restore.
We get in there, and I immediately well up because I'm the teacher, and I'm a group leader, and all of those things. But honestly, I'm an artist. I am an art nerd, and that is why I got the degrees that I got. And so I well up in tears, and then I'm trying to tell myself to get it together, and I turn around, and my 3 students that are in the little tent with me are also crying. And I said, okay, these are my people, and we're just going to
Have this moment together.
yes,
And, yeah.
absolutely. And then we rushed to Santa Croce.
I was going to say, I like to think about the human element, and that as amazing as, you're the restorer, there's going to be a day where you're like, I don't want to go to work today. Like, I don't want to get out of bed. It's just, I don't want to call it fatigue, but it gets to that where you're just a person doing a thing. Even if you love it, some days you're like, oh, man, I don't want to go. Mm-hmm. But I completely lost my train of thought. Speaking of the terminal. Santa Croce. Mm-hmm. This is where Michelangelo is buried there.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Galileo. Galilee. Mm-hmm. There's also a lot of cenotaphs. So, like honorary burial places when you're actually buried somewhere else. And so there was a lot of that. But yes.
Yes. Leonardo da Vinci's was there.
No, Leonardo da Vinci's not there. He has a cenotaph.
That's what I was saying.
He's in France.
Yes, he is in France.
Yes.
France.
Oh, the cenotaph.
Yes, that's what I was talking about.
But Giotto's frescoes are also there, and I had looked online that you didn't have access to them because they were being conserved at that time. They were. You did. You could go, and you could see a great number of them.
Yes, you could.
It's so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And Chimabue's cross. And
yes, I bought prints of that. I really liked it, even with, because they had, these little, blocks, but it's where they're restoring it.
Mm-hmm.
But it was really cool to see, and I've got a print of that. I was hoping my sister wouldn't steal it.
We mentioned Dante earlier. That's his statues out front.
Yes.
Of that.
Yes. And yes, outside. The sun was going down, and it got to the point where only his face was lit by the sun, and the rest of his body was in shadow. Mm-hmm. That's another. I know it's another magical moment. Did we
very
time that?
magical? Wow, but he just looks so angry.
Yes. And then we walked outside, and there's the Pazzi Chapel, and it just was waiting. Again, as the teacher, I don't know that students remember everything. These students remember everything. They're like, is this that? Yes, it is. And didn't Brunelleschi? Yes, he did. And so that was wonderful being able to share this with people who know and love it.
Mm-hmm. It was great to see it. You learn about it in class, and then, it seems so far away from you because it's, I know, a different country. But you actually see it in person, and it's a whole different experience. And it's I learned about that in class, and it's crazy to know the in-depth knowledge of that piece, or how it was created, or the media, or the background knowledge, or the struggles, or the going against and not really wanting to do it, but they did it anyway.
Yes.
And I'm used, or decades ago, we just had the little picture in the book, and when you're you see it in real life, it's just hard to kind of wrap your head around. Mm-hmm. Possibly my favorite in Florence was San Lorenzo. I don't know if you made it.
Well,
we had a little side adventure, just a couple of us, Miss Warner, myself, and one student. The other group was doing
a leather. I got to see a leather demonstration.
Mm-hmm. So that was really neat. But we ended up going and stumbling upon that. And you recognized it, and we're like, can we go in?
We
let's go.
Turned the corner, and I said, oh, no, I know what this is. And then Tiffany said, we have 20 minutes. And I said, we can do this. And so we rushed in, and I said, we really do not have time. We have to walk quickly and just see what it is, and quickly explain to Tiffany, okay, this is what they did, and this is who paid for it, and there are important Medici people buried there. And then Donatello is buried there, and it's just so beautiful. It's so overwhelming, and Maddie loved it very much. And I said, we can't tell anybody yet. Let's just let them enjoy it, because we were on our way to see David, Michelangelo's David.
Yes.
And so that's what we were rushing for, was so that because we had kind of speed pass everywhere we went. ACIS make sure that all the tickets are bought and that you don't have to stand in line, or they limit the amount of lines that you have to stand in, since we have a limited amount of time. But San Lorenzo is so beautiful. I think San Lorenzo is, well, Brunelleschi in general, is why we have neoclassical architecture the way it looks like. Why does Washington, D.C. look like Washington, D.C.? Why do all the capitals, state capitals, look like how they look? it's clear, you know.
It's so funny because it still has the unfinished facade.
It's hiding
Yes.
what is on the inside. Tiffany, what did you think? Because I knew what I was going to see.
Like walking on the outside, I was just like, oh, this is an old building. That's great.
And Miss Warner so excited.
And I was like, sure. Like, you know, we took pictures in front of him. Like, oh, I'll take your picture. You know, you want it? And I'm like, this is neat. And then we walked inside and I was like, oh, okay. Like, I see why.
You see why Miss Warner and Maddie are losing their minds.
Yeah. It was pretty incredible. And then like the room where one of the Medicis was buried was pretty intense.
You got to go to the crypt.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm jealous now.
We didn't go to the library. We ran out of time. So there's still
walked in.
You want to go? We'll go.
Yes, the room with the Medici, I'll use the word opulent. It was crazy. And then I did get to go to the library.
Michelangelo.
And the steps were, and we walked the aisle with the little desk thingies. And but
See, I didn't do that.
possibly my favorite was the small. It's got the 2 tombs on the side with the 4 statues. There's the 4 statues are on the tombs, and then there's the 2. There's the soldier, but they're both supposed to represent Medici people. But my favorite part is that if you go behind the altar, there's this little nave, and on one side, it's plexiglass because there are these drawings that are supposedly Michelangelo.
I did not see that.
No.
It's not advertised. And I don't think I even knew about it. It was kind of one of those happy accidents. But I am a big person, much like the School of Athens, to think that you're inhabiting a physical space where at one time this person was working. Yes. You don't get that at the Sistine because you're not physically going to be close to the ceiling. But if there are paintings that are frescoes that are on the wall that haven't been moved, they weren't painted in a studio, you are inhabiting a physical realm that this person was 500 years ago. And for me, that was to see these things an inch from me on this wall, it was pretty crazy. So
Giotto's frescoes, the Holy Trinity, just you're right, you're there. Give me a paintbrush, maybe I can help.
I probably couldn't help, but but I'd definitely stand behind him and watch.
Yes. So, what was your favorite thing?
I loved going to the Academia with David, but not because of David.
Yes.
That was incredible. But the room that had all the sculptures.
Oh, the plaster mold,
all of those. It was overwhelming to see all of them, and there was it's the human aspect of it. Like, the art is beautiful, the technique is beautiful, like, you're so skilled, but like to think, like, I got teary-eyed as like a mother to see this, statue representing this kid playing, and I'm like, a kid however many years ago like was a kid then, like a kid is now, so, and someone to care about them so much to put them in this media, it was very sweet to see, all these like pets, dogs and things, like, oh yeah, you're a cat person, you're a dog person, you're making a sculpture of your animal, how incredible. And it's going to last, however long. Just
the
wild.
David is impressive because of the way the dome is above him. But what I enjoyed is the lead up, because you can see him 50 feet away, but on the sides are the
slave figures.
Yes.
They are unfinished,
Yeah.
Michelangelo's, and so you can see the chisel marks, and you can see
So
them
close.
partially emerged from these stones.
It's so impressive. I could not imagine doing that. Like, it's just insane to me, because like for me, it's like I have to sketch it out, render it, but to take a block and then carve it out and then make it as accurate as those statues are, it's just insane to me.
Don't carve too much. Don't, lose a piece. And
Well, the
can't just
David
erase
is
it.
from a discarded piece.
I know.
Another artist had started and said, "Oh, this isn't this block is
This is no good. Nobody can do anything with it. Michelangelo said,
And then David
excuse me.
came from that.
I think the current phrase is hold my beer.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
That's what he said.
Hold my chisel.
Did you happen to go to the top of the dome?
No, we did not go into Il Duomo, and I have never, either time that I was there. And my confession is, I would like to, but it's not as important as. And then I could fill in the blank with several things. Like, can you go to the top of Giotto's tower?
Yes.
Campanile? I would prefer to do that, I think. Now, I am ready to be corrected.
No. Neither of those takes is inaccurate. If you had the amount of time that we did, 3.5 to 4 weeks, I did not go to the top of Giotto's tower, although that makes sense for an amazing view of the Duomo. What was really, if you're claustrophobic or don't like heights, you're not going to want to do the
I would
dome.
be up there.
Yeah, they explained to us how many stairs there were and everything. We were all like, we're good here.
What's really
feet stay on
neat
the
is
ground.
it's just this little side door, and as you start, so at some point you pop out, and all of a sudden you're on this catwalk,
I would love that.
150 feet up.
Is it a narrow enclosed space for the stairs?
It becomes, yes. So
Okay.
you pop out on the catwalk, and you have to kind of walk partially around, and I think those Vasari. You're pretty far up, but then you enter another door, and as you start going up, it gets narrow, but it's funny too because it also starts to curve.
Yeah.
And so you are like looking at concrete and brick, and every once in a while you'll get a little window or a little worker door, and as you keep going, you're leaning, and then
And are you in line with people?
it was not super duper crowded.
Okay, maybe I could do it if it's not.
I don't know. That just
We'll add it
makes
to the
me all
next time we
nervous. I
go.
don't think
But
I
when
could.
you do start to get close to the top, and when you're ready to emerge at the lantern, it is kind of a one, like, all right, 5 people are coming down, 5 people can pop out of the little hatch, and then there you are. You're like, bloop. Now I'm looking at the city, and it's super cool.
You can see the Uffizi. Most people stand on the roof of the Uffizi to see Il Duomo, and I guess you could reverse it back.
Yeah, it's just a lot of terracotta tile,
I bet it
as
is.
far as you can see, which is beautiful in itself. But
But you mentioned a fresco a few minutes ago. It was in Florence, right? Yes,
Yeah.
because that's where. Yeah. We kept standing in the Plaza de la Signoria that has the Uffizi and the
fake David.
the fake
Yes.
David and what do you call it, the offices, Medici Palace, the
Yes.
Palazzo Vecchio.
yes.
And I kept thinking, well, I've never been in that, but that's fine. I'll go to the Uffizi, no big deal. We did a fresco workshop
Oh,
in the Palazzo
Nice.
Vecchio. And how did Giotto and all those guys make
It was humbling.
frescoes?
Very,
Yes.
very humbling.
How did they make them on the walls and on the ceiling and shade them and render
We all
them? And then they had to
tried,
make
and
the pigments and
The students, I mean, everybody's turned out
beautiful.
beautiful. It was incredible to see shading on some of them, or I kept making the comment of, like, the frescoes we see are all the people and biblical and, like, all the skin tones and stuff, but here's the pigments we have, and of course our students know color theory, and they just made this beautiful skin-toned eye, and I was like, oh, that's incredible. Okay.
Yeah, it was great. I was sitting there making muddy puddles, I'm not gonna lie, because it's like it's wet on wet, and you have to. For me, I'm a person that draws, so I like to put my wrist down. You cannot do that.
Oh, because you're smearing and
Yes, because you're
smashing.
smearing and smashing. You can't do that, so I have to grab my wrist and hold the paintbrush and make sure I'm not
Could you
doing
imagine?
that. That's what I'm saying. I couldn't do it standing up and looking up. I absolutely couldn't do it. And then you gotta think, these people got these proportions correct, especially for the people looking down, so they're even more exaggerated. So it's just insane to me.
The richness of the pigment that these guys can get, that these guys got. so long ago, and we were using, they explained the minerals and the chemicals and all the different things, and we were using similar materials. I think I just couldn't wrap my head around it in the time frame that we had to really sit down and make art, because I was just in my head too much thinking about all the different complications that these people were having and how many layers it would take to make. It was wonderful. It was
I had so much fun.
All my art degrees are in painting, and so I think it was just overwhelming and very edifying and humbling. That's another word.
Very humbling.
Yes. Yes. But I think that was one of the best activities. The Uffizi, by the way, which is next door, that was another time where they were like, have plenty of time, walk around. And they're like, yeah, 45 minutes. It was more than that.
We were booking it.
They didn't tell us that the staircase was going to test you.
Oh, it definitely tested. I climb a bunch of stairs, right? And I'm like, oh,
I was
there
out of
possibly
breath.
can't be more stairs around this corner. Am I right, guys?
The Uffizi
Yes.
trained me to conquer any staircase.
Yes. I'm like, well, Botticelli's stuff's up here. I gotta get up here, guys.
I can see across the table the notebook, and one of my favorites is you kind of wrap, if it's still where it was, you sort of wrap around the corner, and there's a circular oil by Michelangelo.
The Doni Tondo.
It's super cool, and nobody was in front of it because I don't think people realized what it was. But I was kind of like skipping over to it, like, oh, I get it all to myself for a few minutes.
The first time I went to Italy and I got to go to the Uffizi, I really did only have 30 to 40 minutes. And so my friend that was with me, she said, I have to see Botticelli. I said, I have to see Michelangelo and Caravaggio. So we both like split and like kind of were running down the hall. You can't run, but it was kind of running down the hall.
Right.
And I didn't know that Doni Tondo, that painting was there. And I came down the hall and I kind of glanced, and it like physically pulled me into the room, and I was so shocked by how beautiful it was. And Bill Black, one of our students that traveled with us, our senior scholar, he said, I just have to see that painting. If I don't see any other painting in the Uffizi. And so I said, come with me, because that's the one I need to come see. And he had the same experience I did. I'm so glad that it lived up to the expectation, because sometimes art may not live up to your expectation.
You never know until you're standing right in front of it.
Right in front of it.
I know some famous artworks, don't get me wrong, but like coming with that novice mind of like, I know things and I know certain artists and stuff, but the surprise that I had, like I got to see new things that like pulled me in and like made me have a moment, and I was like, oh my gosh, like there was so many Madonna paintings, but there was one that was just beautiful, and I was just standing there for a while, and like, and some of the ceiling paintings, there was one of Pan on the terrace that they have closed in, and I was just like, oh, that's so cool. So, and I couldn't tell you who painted some of them, but I was like, now I've seen them.
That doesn't make it doesn't devalue it at all that you don't know whose it is, because you had your moment, you had the experience, it belongs to you. Yeah.
I think for me, the Uffizi was my favorite just because I got to go see Botticelli's work, and like Botticelli was the first artist that I did a research paper here at Mac, and then like on top of that, I was always drawn to his art, but like knowing his background and then actually going to see it in person, like I was emotional, I was crying. It was like I had to pause, like my whole group separated away from me, and
We don't know this person.
but it was breathtaking, and seeing the sheer size of them, because like once again touching base, but you see it in the textbook or you see it online, it doesn't seem that big, but when you see it in person, it's just insane, and just I don't know, it's just I can't really even put it into words. It was just really touching.
Final thoughts on Firenze?
It's delicious.
Very
It's delicious,
delicious and
Anna
delightful.
told us Tuscans feed you. And so she kept telling us
We
to
had
be
course
careful because the
meals.
portions are bigger than what you expect them to be. And the pasta is so fantastic. And these students got treated to course meals at every scheduled meal. And that's something that I think a lot of them were not expecting. And so 2 to 3 courses at every single planned dinner. And nothing
We were
was
fed.
bad or processed, or it was fantastic and homemade and wonderful. And I love food, and so like that's my final thought. The art artwork was great. Florence, I will return, but the food was fantastic.
Delicious.
It was great.
The first time, and one of only 2 times in my life, that I ate quite literally too much, that I made myself ill. Very Roman of me, I guess. Although I heard that was a myth that they would sort of purge and then so they could get back into the party. But
Myth, yeah.
Not to be gross, but it was bow tie pasta in Parmesan sauce, and
It's just so good.
it was insane with tiramisu for dessert.
Of course. We had a lot of panna cotta and tiramisu, and I tried a lot of unique things like oxtail and wild boar while I was over there.
Interesting.
And
So
they were
good.
really good.
But it's standard there.
Yeah. And some of the students were like, man, you're like really going all out on this trip. And I was like, I'm in Italy.
Yeah.
I'm not going to eat Chef Boyardee in my hotel. I'm going to eat the food that they have that I can't get back at home.
That's right.
So I was like, yeah, give me the oxtail pasta, please. And it was worth it.
Even the sandwich that on the run where Tiffany and I had to do a run back to the hotel really quick, which was lunchtime for everybody else. She and I just like, okay, let's just stop here. And we grabbed a sandwich and ate it on the way. And it was one of the best sandwiches I've had. And there was bread and meat and cheese. Like there was nothing
Special.
unique or special about
Yeah.
it. But boy, it was a fantastic sandwich on the run,
The little cookies and treats. And
Santa Croce is still my favorite church. Santa Croce, I think, will always be special in my heart. I don't know about the rest of you, but that's my special
I don't know,
place.
the one that had Caravaggio's paintings in
that
it.
little tiny church.
That was pretty cool.
Yes.
So then we are back to step number 1,
Yes.
which is Venezia.
Yes.
So everybody agrees that Venice was their favorite.
It was my favorite.
Majority, I would say,
It
was
was.
favorite because not only was it like the artistic of what we want, but it was still kind of leaning towards that vacation. Like it was more laid back and beautiful sights, and we got to do things, and we had a lot of special moments in Venice.
There's no cars.
Yeah,
we
so you
just
didn't have to
rolled
worry about
around.
getting hit.
That helps.
Yeah.
That does help. Florence, I think they eased in, you start off in Venice, there's no cars, you're going to walk at your pace, and then we're going to go to Florence, and you might get hit by a car because not all streets are pedestrian, and
Yeah.
then you get to Rome, and
It's like
you
you
better
will be
watch.
hit
Yeah,
by
you
a
better
car.
watch.
if you don't.
Better be careful.
But I mean, as soon as we got off the plane and we crossed over to get on the boat to get to Venice, we like come down this escalator and it just opened up to the water and all these boats. And around here, I think it's safe to say that almost every single person had not been on a boat. So it was an interesting, like all smiles. I got a video of all the students and they were just like pointing and looking, and so it really started us off on the right foot landing in
I'll
Venice.
have you know, I was on a paddle boat, Tiffany. Okay?
I wasn't counting
The Missourian
those.
in me was on a paddle boat, okay? But it was a first, and it was very, very cool to see the lagoon and just the water, because the water changed colors, and it was a crystal tide, and just being on, it was a first because it's like you're hitting the
waves, and
waves,
just
but
going with
it was so neat.
We were in the Adriatic. We were, on it, and I got to sit next to, I think it was Chrissy on the boat. I think that's who I was sat next to. Were you in my boat?
You were right next to Bill.
Okay, Bill. I just remember looking out and instantly knowing why Monet painted how he painted Venice how he painted. Like it's photorealistic. It is not. he was
Every
not
photo I
expressive.
took, I didn't have to edit at all. Anything.
Venice was so picturesque.
Yes.
It was.
It was
And it was
perfect.
very bright. Like the buildings are so brightly colored. And against next to the water, it's very contrasting, but in a good way.
So we, the very first day when we arrived, we were absolutely exhausted and dead. But as Tiffany said, we got on the water to get on our Vaporetto and to get to where we stayed on Lido. So an island, a long, long island just off of Venice, the tourist part of Venice. And then we walked and we walked and we walked, and we were going to dinner, and Anna crossed a bridge, and then she looked over at me and she said, there's an art opening tonight. Do you guys just want to pop in before we go? And this was the first magical thing that happened. We were like, yeah, this is the group that you want to take to an art opening. She walks in, we follow after her, and the curator is there. And the curator looks at Anna, and Anna looks at him, and they say something in Italian to each other, something to the effect of, "Are you?" Fill in the blank. Oh my gosh. They kiss, they hug. They were co-workers from a few years back. And she said, "And so what are you doing here?" And he said, "I'm the curator." And he said, "What are you doing?" And she said, "This is my group. They just landed." And they're college art students. And he took us through the whole exhibit, piece by piece, telling us about the artist, about what it means, and how did we feel about it, and please take a look. And
how he curated everything.
oh my God. Why it's in this particular building instead of the other building. And I just, like, this is a put on, right? They planned this. They,
It was too perfect.
Here we go again. We're going to run it back.
And it was adult. It was adult themed. Like there was a lot of nudity and sexuality and identity.
The exhibit was skin.
Skin had to do with skin. And I kind of, I don't know if I said it to Tiffany or Anna at the time, but Anna could not have taken her K through 12 typical tours through this exhibition, but because we were a college adult tour, they could manage it and they could handle it, and they were art students, so they're used to critiquing and they're used to being taken around and in-depth discussion of art, and so that was how we started the trip.
Yeah.
And it was really cool to see the pieces and then take them into the full account of yourself and reach and be I guess taking your own experiences and interpreting it, but also then having the curator explain this is what this means, but then you also look and it's oh, well, those soft colors are meaning those harsh colors, or the material of what it is. And it was very interesting because it did all relate to the skin, but it was very interesting. There was this one piece, it was just clothes, but they weren't fitted. It was one arm was bigger than the other and the pants legs were hanging down, but it was very interesting, and some of it was abstract, and it was really interesting. I don't know, I know I use that word a lot, but it was I can't put it into words of.
And we were kind of sleep deprived and on hour 27 or something of being awake, and so I think it was overwhelming and overstimulating, but I also love that it happened kind of when we were all raw and ready to have these experiences, because what else were we going to do?
Because we were here we go.
Yes.
This is what we're getting into.
I think I like the juxtaposition of you're surrounded by old.
Thousands of years.
And yet things are still happening in these little crevices and spaces, and that there's still and always has been a continuing.
And Brandon, you're right, because it was off of a bridge and you had to turn immediately to the left of the right there in the bottom step in this building that looks like it was built into a corner between two other buildings. And the brick is exposed.
We would have walked right past it.
Yes.
So grateful
so
for
you are
Anna.
100% correct. That is what it was. It was a crack in the wall right there.
Would you have this, contemporary alongside of and coexisting with, and it kind of cracks me up too to think if you transported a time machine and brought some of these old masters, they'd be like, what is this? What is going on here?
What are we doing? Guys, get it together.
We got a tour of San Marco, and we didn't go inside the Doge's Palace, but we did go inside of St. Mark's.
Yep. Tell me about the floor.
It was interesting. It was you were kind of sinking a little bit. It was uneven, but one of our students, he was expressing to me that he was actually so glad that they had the cushion and stuff, because we had been walking for so long, and I think it's just we weren't very used to it, but I enjoyed it. But he was like, thank goodness the floor was like that, because my feet were hurting, bro. I was like, I totally understand.
We just started.
Yes.
It's famous for mosaics, and the floor is wavy because the piazza floods constantly.
Water wears, and people walk on it. And also the stone naturally will
It's uneven.
softer than, some stone is a little bit softer than, even if it's all marble, it softens it different.
But it's where you walk in and it's really kind of jarring. You're like, oh my gosh, like it's, you feel like you're in a fun house or
That
something.
was the place where outside it looked like paintings, but it was mosaics. Which,
Such fine, exquisite mosaics.
so much detail somehow incorporated in that. And then inside was beautiful.
The ceilings, oh my gosh, and the stained glass, absolutely just kind of took you away and like
breathtaking.
Very breathtaking. Took you like to a whole new place.
And that's what those cathedrals and basilicas were made to do. They were meant to transport you to a different realm.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Getting closer to heaven.
Yes.
Yes.
I like to think about some guys up on scaffolding, and they turn around and they bump the tray and all the.
Ugh.
Like, oh, you got to be kidding me,
Greg, you
it's
did
that
it again.
Very
You're fired.
human, like this was put together, and things went wrong, and people laughed, and people got upset.
Like, we
Could
know
you
the
imagine?
masters, but like, imagine the people that it was their 9 to 5.
Right.
Like, they're not remembered for it, but they're like, yeah, I just went over here and laid the mosaics on the floor of this church. That's how I got paid and fed my family.
Yes. And you know what? Great.
Okay, you're part of this history.
Yes.
You probably never thought of that,
Yes.
happening.
Could you imagine just being up on all that scaffolding and then you just drop your paintbrush?
I would.
Oh.
I would.
I would quit for the
You better
day.
have an
Me
extra
too.
one in your pocket.
Well, you think about modern construction, and it's like a delivery shows up. You're like, these are the wrongs. Somebody gives you your
This is the
stones.
wrong
You're like,
pigment, guys.
these are not the right things. Like
You're
let's,
actually off a shade. I hate to tell you.
I can't use this.
And then there are the horses that are on top of San Marco, and I think they're replicas.
Yes,
They-
they
yes,
are.
Yes, they are.
Because they didn't want the other ones to get too worn
They
out
were
by
getting
the weather.
weathered
Yeah.
because of like the weather,
the
and
rain, the
sun.
water.
Yeah,
If I remember correctly, those were sort of like
They were stolen.
people.
Yeah.
They were like the thing to take, like, oh, we're going to take these back, and then somebody else would take them, and it
Well,
was
the Venetians stole the horses, and they stole St. Mark, and they stole the Tetrarchy, the Constantinople, the Rule of Four, the statues that are supposed to represent the fall of the Roman Empire when they had 4 rulers, except for the feet. They stole everything except for one guy's feet.
And then they asked for the feet
yeah.
at one point.
And they were like,
"You're asking
no,
for the broken
they
piece of the
actually-
stolen
I'm
like,
feet."
sorry,
we
the
already
feet
have
stay
these.
here.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot
It's
of
very funny.
stealing history.
Yes.
Always.
The thieves.
Yes.
Always.
Yes. But they did such a beautiful job.
They
with it.
did. I'm so proud of them.
That was another, so the next magical thing was we stepped out of that tour, very detailed, and we step outside, and the lady who did that tour said, oh, you guys see this clock that's 500 years old? It changes every 5 minutes. Watch. And then did she
We got to
time
watch
it?
it.
Maybe she did time it that way,
Move.
but we got to watch it change, and it was
And it was really cool with this like sentimental value of it because there was one that was a son and one was a father, and it had to do with time. And it was just, I don't know, it was just, it kind of hit kind of home because it's like the son hits it like maybe like a few minutes before, and then the father hits it by the hour. And it's just like, because younger people are in such a rush, and it's just like, you don't have to be. It was really cool. Very, very cool.
The whole of St. Mark's Square was, it's so breathtaking with all like the arches and the whole space, and just to think, not putting down at all, but like there's just a jewelry store over here, a trinket shop, or in this breathtaking space.
well, it was a market.
Yeah.
Originally, it was
And
a
now
market.
these all just are little, you want to go buy a purse or,
I assume masks are still a big deal.
Oh, yes. The
Yes,
masks
the
were
Venetian
everywhere,
masks.
and the glass.
One of our
Venetian
students
Glass,
got
that's
one
right.
of them.
We went to a glass blowing demonstration.
Yep.
And got to see them do it in front of us, and then they showed us all the artworks that they had there, and we got to buy some if we wanted, and I definitely did.
The glasswork was amazing.
It was
Absolutely stunning. It's crazy to think that somebody actually hand makes it, and then on top of that, like it's a trade there. Like people, I don't feel like people in Missouri really work with glass, or like I don't know, like the whole, it's like a family line kind of thing. So it's kind of just
A passed down
a
training.
passed down traditional kind of thing. It was really cool to see.
And we had, and this was when Anna was still getting to know us, and so she said, "Okay, you guys have free time. You have like 2.5 hours before we have to do whatever the next thing is." And I said, "Okay, so I'm going to the Peggy Guggenheim Museum. Who's going with us?" And she said, "But it's your free time." And I said, "But it's Peggy Guggenheim."
Yeah.
And so we went to her house, and some students went, and they chose to sit in the garden and relax because we were tired from walking, and we were just getting used to it all. And some of us spent the time looking at every single work of art that we could possibly, and then thinking about this woman and how she collected these things and how she socialized with these artists, and that this used to be her house. And
The view
Absolutely.
was the most beautiful
Magnificent.
that I got in Venice, in my opinion, was
did.
on the
Yes.
the terrace or the
with
outside patio
gondolas and
space.
That was going to be, I was going to ask if you'd made it to the Guggenheim. That was one of my favorites of Venice.
It touches on what you said earlier. You have this like less than 100 years old next to thousands of years old, and you have this.
All this contemporary art and stuff mixed in.
I was really, I've never been like a Picasso fan. Like there's a couple, but there was, the one I remember the most was the boats, the two figures with the little boats. And I don't know if that's a permanent, if it's still there. But that was the first time when I was like, okay, like this is pretty cool. It gave me a little more, I looked a little more into Picasso after that because I'd seen that painting in real life and was unfamiliar with it.
Right.
But really found myself kind of struck by it.
There was an Alexander Calder work there that I'd never seen before. If you had shown it to me without the little placard and said, "Who made this?" I wouldn't be able to tell you because it's so different from the other one that they have in the lobby. That's clearly that's what it is. But there were also in the garden, it was nice to see Giacometti and Isamu Noguchi and a couple of those that I just didn't expect to see. And then I thought, historically that makes sense. Of course she would collect those guys, but it was delightful for me. I absolutely loved.
And apparently on our lunch break, I ate at the table that Peggy Guggenheim sat at when she came up with this idea. That's what the placard said above my pizza table.
That's pretty
so
cool.
I took a snapshot of that. I was like, well,
Oh,
look
I
at
didn't
that.
know that. That's
yeah,
wonderful.
when my sisters and I went to lunch, it had this whole placard about how this is where she sat and contemplated the contemporary art that she'd select.
That's great.
I'm like, wow, history everywhere.
Really everywhere.
I'm not like a big abstract kind of person. I don't really understand the art. It's not that I don't like it. I understand like its use and stuff, but I guess it just doesn't communicate to me. But going there, and it's mainly, not all of it, but mainly it's abstract art, and I got to see Kandinsky's work. It was really different seeing it in person other than seeing it visually, and it was visually appealing and striking to me. So it was a nice experience of that. Standing in front of it, because it's like, you can look at it through a textbook and be like, oh yeah, these are lines and shapes and colors, yeah, but then you don't really think about it, but then you're standing in front of it and it's like, yeah, these are lines, shape, and colors, but it's something different. There's something further on underneath that.
Before I forget, I want to loop back to San Marco. Are the pigeons still a problem? Are there just a million pigeons?
Well, I think we love pigeons, so we didn't see them so much as a problem as needing to keep the students from touching and feeding them because
They loved them.
we are so animal loving. Our group loves animals, and so the dogs and the cats and the pigeons. And so we did, before we went on the trip, we did prepare,
Leave
like,
them
please
alone.
don't touch and please do not feed. And so
And they're the seagulls.
Oh my gosh,
The seagulls
were the
were
problem.
more problematic.
Yes,
Were
and
they?
they
They were
snatched food from people.
taking food. And
Before we went into the chapel right next to the Doge's Palace, our tour guide was just trying to tell us some stuff about it, and then we just see a seagull, and it's like fighting another seagull because it grabbed a pizza slice, and they're all trying to take it from each other,
and
we're
all of our eyes just go.
yeah.
it was dramatic. They were
It
being
was
noisy
very dramatic.
and violent.
Yes.
And we apologize for drawing the attention away
I
from
did take a photo of on a trash can, there was a red and white like warning flyer that was like beware the gulls, and it had a big picture of a seagull on it and like all this Italian underneath it, and it just made me laugh because I was like,
So the pigeons were delightful, the seagulls were dangerous.
yes,
Gotcha.
they'd get you.
They will.
Yeah.
Yes. Just to go to the food for just a moment.
Yep.
Venice was delicious as well. I don't want to misrepresent Venice's food, but the serving sizes were smaller, and really full of flavor, and the best meatballs I've ever had in my entire life were in Venice.
I remember we were sitting down for our first dinner, and we were
The lasagna one?
Yes,
Yeah.
and it was so good. And like we were sitting there, and one of the students, he goes, "Man, I really hope there's more after this," because we didn't know we were getting
No, we
like
didn't know we
three-course
had a course.
meals. And he
He's
was
like, we're gonna have to go get dessert after this or something. So it's just a little.
it was just a little. And for me, I was full.
I was too.
I was not expecting, and I
But
mean,
I ate the bread too. I ate the bread
me
and the
too.
lasagna.
Me too. And we weren't expecting, like some of us were not expecting, some of us were hoping and praying that we were getting another course, and then we did, and it
like
was
a quarter of a chicken.
Quarter of a chicken.
Yes, and I'm like, I'm not
potatoes.
gonna be able to finish all this, and he's just looking at it, rubbing his hands, and he's just so excited. He's like, thank goodness, and he was digging in.
And then we had dessert. We had panna cotta afterwards.
So that was, I just said that the serving sizes were modest. Each course was modest. That was very immodest, though. The quarter of a chicken. I didn't know what to do with myself.
I ate it. That's what
I
I
ate
did.
as much as I could.
You don't want to be rude.
I ate as much as I could.
ate it all.
Yes.
I ate as much as I could too, because my stomach was full.
By
after
then
the
I knew they
lasagna.
were going to give us dessert, and so I knew I needed
Yes.
to make room.
Yes,
And then Anna got us all gelato right
Gelato
after, and I was like,
after.
"Lady, we just had so much food," and she was like, "No,
I said,
gelato."
yes, please, thank you.
There's always room for gelato.
There was.
I went to a paper store. They had stationery
Okay, yeah.
stores everywhere, and Venice is known for its marbled paper. And so I did buy a little book, and I bought some cards, and it was wonderful. And
You
then,
did that, and I ate gelato.
and that's fine. I had snacks in the room. I always have snacks. But we also went to a, what was it called? Acqua Alta or Alta Acqua. I don't remember the bookstore. That's a walk-through bookstore. It's super narrow, and the way you go in, you do not turn around.
At all.
Exit out
You're
the
not
other way,
supposed to.
and that's it. And you will be yelled at the whole time. But it is a wonderfully packed old school bookstore with a fat orange cat on the cash
Yes,
register.
and they had so much content in there, and just like little bookmarks and statues, and the pricing was amazing on a lot of it, and it wasn't even just like, don't get me, I'm sorry, they had English books there too, so it was cool to see that as well, and know that you could buy something and read it.
It's an overwhelming shop.
It is very-
I know,
it
and
was
watching
very
your face
overwhelming.
trying to run through it all. It was packed from floor to ceiling. Maybe not floor because it floods. So the name of the bookstore is High Water because sometimes it floods all the way up to the counter.
Wow.
I guess Venice
So they
just
store them in
does.
bathtubs and gondolas. Like some of the displays are in those. And we didn't get to see it, which I'm disappointed in. But there is a staircase made out of the old books
Oh, wow.
that you could go on and like take pictures and stuff. But it was closed when we went in, so that's why I wanted to go because I'd been researching. Prior to this trip, we were all writing what we were excited about, and I was like, I know this bookstore's there. I saw there's this bookcase or this book staircase that I want to go see, and got to see some of it, but not that part, and that's okay.
I feel like perhaps the entire country comes together and says, all right, we're going to close about a third of the popular
Right,
attractions
right.
just so people have a reason to come back.
They take turns.
Like, oh, you can't see
Can't do
this
everything at
time,
once.
so
I think so. We got to go on the island of Lido. Anna said, if you guys wake up 30 minutes earlier and get your breakfast finished, I will walk you to the Adriatic. And so we did a 10-minute walk. It was absolutely foggy, so they just got to see but several of the students had been mentioning to Anna that they'd never been to a beach or an ocean or a sea at all. And so she said, well, we got to go. And so we did. All of us got up and we went and we walked to the beach and we walked onto the beach. Some people touched the Adriatic, picked up seashells, and then we walked back. And
It was a whole new experience because, like I said, I've only been to Ohio. So I was one of those students that didn't get to ever see the sea or have been on a beach. So it was it was like surreal to me, and it was foggy, so it's like you can't really see it, but it was like I went in and I touched the water, and it was funny because Anna said, "Oh, it's warm." It was cold to me.
It was freezing, not just cold. It was freezing.
It was cold, and then I'm like, I get to walk, and it's like the waves are hitting my shoes, and yeah, I am getting my pants wet, but I don't care.
It's
and
the Adriatic.
It is, and it was a whole new experience, and I got to go pick out a bunch of seashells so I could remember it, but it was great. It was great.
These students got to experience almost all modes of transportation. No helicopters and no hot air balloons and no submarines. However, they got to experience taxis and Ubers and airplanes, vaporettos.
The
Ferries.
metro.
Yes, the metro in Rome.
Yep.
And we
lost.
got to get on a bus that got onto a ferry.
Cool.
And that was, we had Anna repeat that to us several times because we said, a bus on a ferry, and she said, your bus on the ferry.
We'll drive on to the ferry.
Yes.
We'll ride the ferry, and your bus will drive off. Okay.
Because you're going from Venice to the land, and that's how you're traveling to the rest of the country.
Yeah.
Oh, and we stopped at a gas station. Like, you know, we have trucker stations here in the U.S. that are gigantic and whatever, and there's lots of food to choose from.
It's a full restaurant, cafeteria.
That was as delicious as all of the other stuff
I had a
that we ate.
steak meal in this gas station.
I stayed in the lower section and I got a panini, and I also didn't know that we could get back on the bus because I'm not gonna lie, I was so tired. I slept through half of the bus ride. My hand fell asleep, and it was asleep for the rest of the day, might I add. But so I was very disoriented because we got on the bus, I fell asleep, we're freaking, I don't know, in a whole different place.
You are.
So I was confused, and I get out, and I have my little panini, and I am sitting in a corner just eating it next to the elevator.
It looked delicious.
It was so good. I love paninis, and I don't even know if you guys know this, but I have a panini press at home. So I was
Little bit of Italy
so
with you.
excited to have a panini in Italy,
Excellent.
and it was bomb. It was phenomenal.
Saffron rice and parpadelle. Oh my gosh. The gas station food was majestic. I'm so
The
sorry.
views from the gas station were
Yes.
majestic. Just the mountainscape,
Yeah.
which we learned was not mountains. They're just hills.
Oh, she
'Cause
said,
they're like,
"Oh,
"Look
those
at
are just hills."
mountains."
She said
Those are
that? Oh my
hills.
gosh.
She said it like multiple times. Every time I'm like, look at that mountain. She's like, that's just a hill.
And the grass was absolute, just phenomenal, rich green.
It was just the beginning of spring, so there's just a new layer of grass, and the trees are just budding, not quite opening up, but you could see all the hints of spring happening. It was wonderful.
I am forever indebted to my parents for sending me that summer. But it was funny because when they picked me up from Lambert and I got in the car, they're like, "So, how was it?" And I was like, I don't know how to answer that question
Yeah.
because I just spent 5 weeks in a place that I was enamored with before I went. And I'm like, I can't really summarize. Like, I was in a whole different world.
If you want to see us summarize, we have an art exhibition with all the journals that the students did while we were abroad, before and after, on Tuesday, May 5th at the Cardinal Center. It'll be
Tuesday,
free.
May 5th, the
Yep.
Cardinal Center, which is part of the Industry and Technology building. When you first come onto campus, it's on the right.
Yep, it'll be there from 4 to 6 p.m. on that Tuesday afternoon.
So Tuesday, what was the date again?
May 5th.
May the 5th.
Yes.
Cinco de Mayo.
Yep,
Oh,
the
yeah,
end of
there
the
you go.
semester. This is kind of the final for the class of the travel abroad.
And it can be drop in, just drop in, take a look at the table display, talk to the students, and then pop out. So it's kind of more like an open house. There's no real programming or anything like that. We're just going to sort
Pretty
of open it
casual.
up. Yeah, very casual. But you can look at some of the photos. We're going to have the TV prompting, showing some of the slideshow and some of the things that the students wanted to share.
I will have my fresco there. So,
Oh, from the
Yeah,
class.
workshop.
yes.
I did
Super
not
cool.
bring mine home.
I brought mine home and it filled my suitcase.
And then just to kind of wrap up, you're already in the sort of planning phase for next spring. And
No, not spring. Not next spring. Spring 2028.
oh,
it's
it's
a
going to be
2-year
every
rotation.
other.
Every
It's
2
going to be
years.
every other year. Okay,
Yes.
got you.
Gives us plenty of time to fundraise and gather up people, recruit, things like that.
And have you decided on a location for the next time?
We have.
A week in Paris.
Okay, very cool.
So
Have not been.
exciting!
Because we learned that 3 cities in 6 to 8 days is doable,
Stressful.
but so stressful because you're packing and
overwhelming.
unpacking. You're packing and unpacking.
Yeah, that's probably the.
And the pace is so
Overwhelming.
different from Venice to Florence to Rome, as we discussed.
Yes.
So I, being the elder group leader, said, "Can we do one hotel
In one
for a
place.
week, please?" And so ACIS said, "Okay, well, what do you want to do in Paris?" And they've said, "How about this?" And we said, "Well, what about this?" And so already they were
We've already
working
got an
with us.
itinerary going out. We'll get the full cost of that back soon, and it'll be reserved for our spring trip for 2028.
Very nice, very nice. I would be super tempted to want to take a trip to Provence in the south just to see where some of the people hung out.
I think that's more my preference too, but Paris has so much art history, and
Yes.
I have to
There's so
think
many
curriculum
places.
and class, and so in the same way that we planned Italy, I have to think art history
Yes.
forward.
The Louvre, obviously, but is it the Musée
Musée
d'Orsay?
d'Orsay, yes.
That's sort of the one.
That's on
That's
the
really the
list.
one. It wasn't on the list, and then she said, "What else do you want on the list?" And I said, "Of course we have to do the Louvre, but if
But
we
also-
have to skip the Louvre, that's
Yes.
where
But
yes."
we
And
get
so
both.
we're going to do both.
Yes, so
Nice.
Look up what's in those museums, people, because
it's
amazing.
a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll take my ibuprofen with me in case I get overstimulated.
Is the Nike of Samothrace in the Louvre?
I think it still is.
Yeah, I think so. Sorry, I'm getting off on a tangent. I told you this could be. I have reined myself in. I know at the beginning I kind of went on a little monologue, and mentally I was like, I need to stop talking. And
There's
and
so much to talk about.
let
I
our
mean,
guests
even
talk.
when we're ready for the Paris trip, something special about this one. We packed so much into this one, and we knew the students would be upset if we didn't do certain things. Because you're in Italy, it might be the only time. We got to do it all. But Paris, we're going to have a lot of the art history stuff, obviously, around there. But we've scheduled in some unique, like a perfume factory tour and a
Very
French
interesting.
cinema experience where we get to watch a French movie in the theater and with
Maybe the
subtitles.
Moulin Rouge.
Maybe the Moulin Rouge for a show and dinner, and yeah. So it's going to be a really good balance this time around.
So tempting.
I know. Well, not everybody gets a kick out of this, but it's always funny too to be in places where like they've filmed big movies. Now you might get something from like the Spanish Steps in Rome, and I know there's been some Da Vinci Code type things, but it seems like there's James Bond movies and Mission Impossible movies. There's a lot of Parisian, and you're like, it always cracks me up too to think about how like the streets and things have to be blocked off, and cameras and lights and famous people, and again, we're making these contemporary movies in these places with so much history, and to think what people from 500,000 years ago would think if they could see what was going on, just and crazy. But and it cracks me up too to think that like the Eiffel Tower was supposed to be like demolished. It was supposed to be temporary. And I think there's a little apartment at the top.
Really?
Yes. So, the
Did not know that.
Eiffel, there is a little apartment. I think it may be just below the observation deck. But there was a little apartment where he could like kind of hang out. So yeah, if
We'll Airbnb in that, you know.
Yeah.
You know the
Now
rent's
Wonder how
gotta
much
be
that costs.
crazy.
I don't know if it's open for view. I don't know, but I know there's
Right.
it's sort of a secret but not secret little thing.
Could you imagine being like, oh, yeah, I just live in the Eiffel Tower?
And I think originally part of the plan too was to be able to drive your car up to the first level,
Oh, that is so
which
cool.
is terrifying because it's not like it's 15 feet off the ground.
Right.
It's like it's
No,
it's
thank
up
you.
there. So
No.
yeah, interesting.
But yeah, we're getting everything lined out for that trip, and we're going to start our fundraising over again.
I think towards the end of this month, or into May maybe, we still have to meet with some of our supervisors to finalize some of those permissions, but we are already thinking and working towards that.
Very cool. Yeah, I'm just so excited that we're not a massive university, but that here in little old Missouri, you can be a part of something that it's nice to be in a group. There's not that you're not just on your own, thrown into, trying to plan and trying to navigate different language, but not an overwhelming, and I like the fact that there was some fluidity, that you were able to kind of negotiate. We've got some time. Let's do this. And of course, the happy accidents.
Yeah.
That it's not just we've got a stopwatch and okay, next on the bus, next.
Yeah, a one trip fits all. Like they
Yeah.
have a great amount of itineraries that span so many countries and so many arrangements of countries. But we found the closest, and then we said, okay, but. And then they were like, okay, yes. So.
And our ACIS tries really hard to make sure, they do make sure that they get us a tour manager that speaks the local language and lives in the country that we're traveling. And it was just so nice that Anna was available and lived in Venice, and that it worked out that way. And I think in some ways ACIS is also learning from us that we are from the Midwest, and our values are a little different, and our level of politeness is so high. And I think we were very well regarded. We keep receiving compliments from our tour manager and our director, our tour director, and I think we're just doing business as usual.
But it's a great reflection
but
back
it is
on the students and,
yes,
and MAC.
exactly.
And, yeah.
No complaints from our students. Our tour manager didn't ever pull us aside and say, hey, that person over there, you got to watch them. So instead, they would pull us aside and say, can I get them a treat? Can I
so
get
sweet.
them something new?
Yeah.
What do you think they want to see? Instead of her running away from us at any chance she got, she was always present and helping us out.
I am thrilled, like sort of a tertiary, like once removed. And again, it's been 3 decades. I know I'm dating myself, but that it all comes back. And the fact that our students got to do this, it thrills me to no end. Thank you all for coming in and talking. If you've made it this far, I don't think we quite hit the 9-hour mark, but and you're able to make it over Cinco de Mayo, if it's easy to remember. And you said at what time?
From 4 p.m. to 6 p.m., kind of an open house.
4 to 6, and it's a Cardinal Center, and that's in the Industry and Technology Building, right as you come onto campus. So come out, see. All the students were required to maintain a journal. I know that you guys did a lot of photo and video work, and so at some point we hope to be able to put out some sort of, I don't want to use the word montage, but some sort of
Something like that.
media piece
Yeah.
that kind of encapsulates the experience in a more like, because I think you did interviews, and students kind of talked about what they were thinking and experiencing. So I'm excited to see those. Just fantastic all the way around. So I do not it's not like I represent the school, but if no one has said thank you for the undertaking, it is much appreciated to be representatives of the college. So
Thank you. We received a lot of support, and it matters a whole lot. And thank you for your kind words, because since you've traveled, and you traveled as a student, you know what it means. And
Travel changes lives. That's what ACIS says.
that's what I
You
was
know,
gonna
and if you're still talking about it 3 decades later, hopefully our students will as well.
I know
and
I'll
remember
be
their
talking
time at
about
Mac.
it.
Yeah.
My kids will
She'll
hear
never
it,
be
and their
quiet.
kids will hear it.
That's
You
right.
know what? It's
you know
gonna
what? Maybe you'll be
continue.
taking them.
Yeah, and my dad, he's he keeps talking about it because he, for some reason, oh my gosh, he's a piece of work. I love him, but he was like, oh, and you're not gonna go do it again. I'm like, don't tempt me. I totally will. Don't tempt me. I will
have
go
a passport
back.
now.
I will go back.
Well, I am going to jump off here because I'm going to get online and see if I can order a sign in Italian that warns you about the seagulls.
Yes,
Because I'm
beware
going to
the
hang it
gulls.
here in my room.
Excellent.
All right, we're going to get out of here. Thank you all again. I don't want 2028 to be here that quickly, but at the same time, I anticipate and hope that perhaps we will all be able to convene again and talk. And we might actually talk before, especially if we're trying to encourage students or even just let the community
members,
know
yes.
that it's possible that they might be able to go, or that even just to say, hey, here's what Mac's doing, and here's what we're offering to students and potential students, kids in high school and even middle school. Not that they don't have better things to do than listen to me yap, but for those who are into this, it does give an insight into what's possible, just kind of in your own backyard. So, all right, thank you all. Enjoy
you.
the rest of your
Thank
afternoon.
Thank
and
you
we'll
for
talk
having
later.
us.